Welcome back to the Aliens and Angels podcast. This is our weekly live Q&A community chat. And today I'm pleased to bring you another interesting subject for discussion, ET or Future Us. Within our community, there has been much speculation as to whether ET is a different race than humans, or as many of us have wondered, are ET actually us from the future who have returned to issue warnings about our future timeline? What does the evidence suggest? What do you think? Join the conversation by joining us in the live chat as we go live today. And you're also welcome to join our Facebook group called Aliens and Angels. All of the links are featured below in the description. Check me out, subscribe to my channels, leave me a comment, like my videos, and please do share this content with your friends. So yes, we're back for another interesting discussion, and I'm pretty excited to be talking about this. Now, I guess I should clarify, there could be millions or even billions of different kinds of ETs. So for the sake of today's discussion, I'm primarily talking about the grays, or what we would call the grays. And I know that's not even one specific species or group or culture or from the same planets or star systems even. So, I'm going to try to narrow it down a bit, but let's just say at this point, I'm talking about the grays. So there are many, many people who have had experience with the grays, and they usually tell us that the grays have been here for thousands of years, and they seem to pop in and out of our reality and been coexisting with us for some time. So the idea that they are us from the future is not a new idea. I've heard that many times for many, many years, ever since I first started to do research about extraterrestrials, which was quite a long time ago. And so I'm wondering, what do you think? So if you're in the audience today and you can participate, or you want to participate in the live chat, please do add your comments, your thoughts, your questions, and I'd be happy to include you in the program. So while we give a few minutes for more people to arrive, I'm going to just talk about the scheduling coming up for this fall. So technically today is the last Q&A group chat for the year. And it's not that you won't be able to participate in the future, you will, but it won't be the same because I'll be having guests on. So I will just quickly take a look at the lineup coming up. Next week, September 22nd, I'm very happy to have my friend Preston Dennett on. And we're going to talk about his books, the experiences he's had, all kinds of information about UFOs, extraterrestrials, and possibly even cryptids. So I know you'll want to mark your calendar and come back next week, next Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, noon Mountain. That's 1 o'clock Central and 2 o'clock Eastern Time, so that you can participate in and ask Preston some questions through the live chat and post your comments. The week after that is September 29th, and I'm going to have Nancy Thames as my guest. Nancy, as most of you know, worked for the Department of Defense, and she's a lifelong contactee. Started when she was very, very young, almost a baby, and she had regular contact throughout her life. And it's very interesting to hear about her experiences. So please mark your calendar for September 29th to catch my interview with Nancy Thames. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, please do add them to the live chat. On October the 6th, I'm having as guests the Kinsella twins. So those of you who are not familiar with Philip and Ronald, they reside in the United Kingdom, and they both had UFO and abduction experiences when they were children. And not just them, also their grandmother, other members of their family. So they have gone on to write books and to do much public speaking about their experiences and what they believe is the ET agenda. So that's October 6th. Be sure to mark your calendar and come back for that and bring any comments and questions you might have. Then on October the 13th, I'm having Preston Dennett back again, and this time he's going to bring with him Dolly Saffron. So Dolly Saffron is a lifetime contactee. She's had extensive experiences with the Greys, even to the point of learning to become a pilot. And she's a pilot for one of the UFOs. And she's had adventures, wow, I'm not sure, probably all over the galaxy, if not all over the universe. Preston's written a book about Dolly's experiences, and the book is called Symmetry. And so I'm sure we'll be talking a bit about that, as well as an upcoming book which picks up where Symmetry leaves off with more of Dolly Saffron's amazing adventures. October 20th, for something a little different, my guest is Eric Wood. Eric Wood has had not just himself, but his whole family has had experiences with cryptids, especially Bigfoot, and other interdimensional and strange and bizarre experiences. So I'm going to have him on. Eric Wood is the host of the Gypsy Road Paranormal channel, and he's interviewed so many people over the years, but also he's had his own amazing experiences. So that's October 20th. You want to mark your calendar for that. And then October the 27th, I'm having on Jeff Selver. Now, Jeff is an author, and he had kind of a spiritual metaphysical experience where he ended up feeling quite disenfranchised from humanity, and he became a recluse. While he was a recluse, he was contacted not in physical appearance, but through downloads and his imagination and his mind contact that way. He was able to put together a book and discuss at least 27 different groups of Greys, what their agendas are, who they are, all kinds of information. So I know you'll want to come back October 27th for that. And then in November, I plan to have Elsa Dillon back, Samuel Chong, and more. So I know you're going to want to mark your calendars for every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's noon Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, and 2 p.m. Eastern every Sunday for these amazing interviews and these amazing guests. So I just wanted to tell you about that. Okay, so let's get back to the topic for today. ETs, are they future us? Well, there is evidence, and later on in the program, I'm going to show you some excerpts from some clips that I have found very interesting, that are very convincing, where there is a representative from the United States military interrogating a gray, what we would call a gray. Now, I have seen these clips many times and in much higher resolution, and they are quite compelling. The being looks very real. There's subtleties in facial expression and movement that tell me this couldn't be a puppet. And of course, this was recorded long before CGI and certainly before AI. So I'm pretty convinced that it's the real McCoy. So I'm going to play you some clips from that in a little bit, and so that you can hear it, as they say, right from the horse's mouth, whether or not the Greys are future us. And so I think you'll find that very, very interesting. Now, I'm fairly new to StreamYard. I haven't figured out how to pause the clips. So, and I don't know how to fast forward to certain sections. So I'm going to play the clips, and I'm not sure if I'll even be able to comment, if you'll be able to hear me while they're playing. So bear with me. I will kind of reiterate what the alien is saying, the extraterrestrial is saying, and recap it. And so yeah, so what do I think? Well, I don't have any evidence besides the clips I'm going to play, but I have often thought that when I've seen a UFO, I've thought that could be future generation us coming back to observe us at this pivotal time. Now, according to ETs, we're very, very close to destroying ourselves with nuclear warfare. And that has never been more possible than it is right now. And I'm not trying to scare anybody, and I'm not trying to say this is what's going to happen. I'm just saying that that seems to be the message from the ETs. And because I'm not going to play the whole clip, under the fair use clause, I'm going to play about a minute from each of the two videos that I have on hand. But in those videos, I'm going to put the links in the description below the YouTube video. So come, if you're listening on audio or on Rumble, do come over to YouTube to check out in the description the links to the original videos so that you can watch them in their entirety for themselves. But apparently, we're very close to destroying ourselves. And if this happens, it's going to be more catastrophic than those in power believe it will be. So, for instance, we know there's a depopulation agenda going on, in my opinion. I have to say that on account of YouTube. And the evidence is quite compelling. And we're having excess deaths and mortalities. That's increasing every single year. But there are other things like wars that are also decimating whole populations. And we're hearing very little about it on mainstream media. But beyond that, we know that there is an agenda out. There's more than enough evidence. You can do your own deep dives. It's not my job to show you all the proof on this show, but there is more than enough evidence that shows that those with the power on this planet right now plan to depopulate to something like 500 million people, and there's no better way to do that than war. And that seems to be the only thing that makes sense when you look at what's going on politically all over the world, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense why they would be using killing so many people. And especially in this day and age where, many of us are tired of war. We've seen the past, we've seen history. Um, History as it has been written and given to us and spoon-fed to us in the mainstream, we're now finding out is not at all anywhere close to the truth, in my opinion. And again, I have to say that on account of YouTube. And We haven't learned anything. War has not really accomplished anything besides making the uber rich even more rich and powerful, and a great way to make a lot of money for certain corporations, certainly the industrial military complex, which is a real thing. And there's been presidents that have warned us about that, American presidents. So it's not like I'm making any of this up. So, according to some interviews with the Greys, we are very, very close, right on the edge of a time where nuclear war actually does happen on planet Earth. And I know that a lot of the elites and stuff have underground um, um, cities basically built for themselves where they think they will be safe. But you see, if there was a huge amount of nuclear carnage on Earth, that would definitely affect things like the subterranean levels, volcanoes, earthquakes, things like that. There is a chance that almost everybody could be wiped out, and things get out of hand really easily. So if this happens, it may be part of a depopulation agenda, but it's going to backfire and take out pretty much everybody. And out of the very few who remain throughout time, their biology will shift and change, and they might eventually become the Greys as we have come to know them. And this is what has been told to us by the Greys. So there is one other thing I want to say about the interviews that I'm going to show. I find them very disturbing. Um, the American military, or even the global military complex, and the forces that be are extremely unkind to to people, first of all, who they capture and keep and interrogate and try to get information from, but they're also extremely cruel to the extraterrestrials. As far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely no need for that. The extraterrestrials have not shown any amount of aggression towards us, or they basically run on, according to the Greys, compassion and evidence. That's how they make their decisions. They are not a warring race. They're not here to hurt us. And to see the way they're treated in these interrogations is quite unnerving. So I will give you all a trauma alert that when I show these clips, they are not in any way entertaining. And again, I think it's absolutely horrible the way this poor creature is interrogated, threatened, and even the way the American human talks to it without any respect or dignity whatsoever. And I think there's no call for that. And I personally am very, very much against that. So I think that to think less of or to mistreat extraterrestrials is the highest form of racism that we could imagine. And racism, as we're told it exists, actually is not racism, because we're all part of the human race. We're all part of the same family. And when it comes to our extraterrestrial cousins, brothers, and sisters, we're also related to them. We're all humanoids. And kindness is not something we just want to share between humans. We want to be kind to animals. We want to be kind to the vegetation. We want to be kind to the planet. We certainly want to be kind to the extraterrestrials. And it is my absolute hope and desire that somehow they know that we're not all the same. And there are those of us who have the level of maturity to care about their welfare. and the welfare of all living things to the best of our ability. Nobody's perfect, but we try, right? So before I get into the clips, I'm noticing we have no comments yet. It doesn't mean that there is nobody here. It just means that nobody has yet commented. So what I usually do during my program is I play a short um, promotion because, there's a lot of people that think we make a lot of money doing YouTube videos and other platform videos, and we really don't. In fact, I haven't made any money at all, and I've been doing this for years. Also, YouTube has decided that my content is harmful, and I am perpetually ineligible for any kind of monetization, which would include even taking channel memberships or super chats or anything like that. So when I show your promotion video, if there's anything that you think you would like to try or use or order to help me support my expenses, I would very, very much appreciate it. And I think for today, I will actually give you a little look into some of my services, which are available from my website. And I am a social worker. I have a bachelor degree in social work. I also have a diploma in what's called women's studies, which is interdisciplinary and research mostly. And so I'm actually trained as an addiction counselor, family counselor, and I have now branched off to offer services for those of you who are on the fringe, because sometimes it's hard to get the kind of support you need or want from the mainstream. And so this just gives you an alternative. So I'll just play that right now and then get back to the show. Everybody thrives when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change we wish to see in the world. Sometimes, though, we need a little help from consultation and support services. Have you discovered that this world is not what you thought it was? Have recent global events awakened you and leave you feeling unsettled? Do you feel isolated by your new, not so popular beliefs? It is a big shock to wake up and find that the old familiar world is gone. It can be disturbing to go down the various rabbit holes, only to find that the information is difficult to digest, and few people are willing to talk openly about it. Would you like to learn how to thrive in this new state of awareness? You are not a conspiracy theorist. You are awakening. And once you find your way through it, there are many blessings waiting on the other side. My name is Karen Holton, and I offer vital services that may be just what you need, and support for your journey into the weird and wonderful. Check out my awakening support and ascension consultation services, created to support individuals with their chosen alternative realities and lifestyles, health and recovery, and their spiritual adventures. For more details, check out the various vital services found on my website, and be assured that I have found personal success with every category featured. My website is www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. And we're back. So for those of you who are late joining us, the topic today is ET. Could ET be future us? And in the first half of the program, I talked about all kinds of things to do with the subject. And now I'm going to show you a couple of clips where ET is being asked whether or not, well, basically where they come from, and they talk directly about how they actually are descendants of ours. Now, before we get started with the clips, I want you to notice there's a banner going across the bottom of the screen that says, Under the Fair Use Clause, we are sharing portions of this video for educational and analytic purposes. So again, the links to both of these clips are below in the description on the YouTube channel. Please do come over to YouTube and check out the videos for yourself if you want to watch them in their entirety. I think you'll find them very, very interesting. So I'm only going to play a small part, the first minute to the first video. And as I mentioned before, I don't know how to pause it or fast forward or anything like that here in StreamYard. So I'm just going to play it and then remove it when after the ET tells us where he comes from. And then we'll take a look at part two.
Okay, we're recording. State planet origin. Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, and I quote, thousands of light years to get here. Yes. Tell us the truth or the word or another reader. It is truth. I thought about from your future. To travel in time is to travel in space. Also special intelligence. So I take it aliens took over our future, right? No. So you're human. Okay, so you evolved from us. Yes. So what are you doing here now?
Okay, so as I said, I'm playing this under the Fair Use Clause, and we're sharing portions of this video for educational and analytic purposes. And again, the links are below in the description. So basically, the interrogator is asking the extraterrestrial, where are you from? And the extraterrestrial says, I'm from Earth. And the interrogator says, well, how could that be? You're from outer space. And the extraterrestrial says that to travel through space is to travel through time. And so he is very clear that he is descended from humans, and humans live on Earth. So I think that's pretty clear. Now, it's hard to understand what the alien is saying. There are subtitles when you watch the video. I'm going to play it again and see if I'm able to unmute my mic and repeat what he is saying.
Okay, we're recording. State planet origin.
State, planet, or origin.
Okay,
He says
yesterday
Earth.
you told us you traveled, and I quote, thousands of light years to get here. Yes. Tell us the truth or the word or another reader. It is truth.
The alien says it is truth. I am from Earth, from your future. To travel in time is to travel in space. Offset spatial divergence.
So I take it aliens took over our future, right? No. So you're human.
An evolutionary descendant.
Okay, so you evolved from us.
So you evolved from us?
So what are you
Yes.
doing here now?
We're observing. So that's part one. I now have part two, which is another interview, I believe the next day. I shouldn't say interview, interrogation with the poor ET. God, that must be horrible to be an ET, a captured ET. I can't even imagine. Probably even worse than being a prisoner of war. It would be a horrible experience. And like I said, I don't agree with the treatment. I think that all living things are worthy of dignity and respect, and this poor ET is certainly not getting it. So I will play just the first minute and a half of part two, and then I will come back and replay it and unmute my mic and just repeat what the extraterrestrial is saying. For those of you who are listening on audio, might have a hard time understanding what he's saying. But again, I want to stress that the links will be below in the description. Please do watch the full-length videos for yourself. Very, very interesting, and I think pertinent information.
Can you speak? Orchard Wild, sir. Are you scared of me? Because you should be. Okay, so you say you're from the future and an evolutionary descendant of humans. You also say you're a different species. So, which one is it? Are you a descendant of humans or not? Then how do you know English? Answer me. If you don't answer, I'll administer another round of scopolamine until your system collapses. Do you understand? Now, how do you speak English? So you just picked up English, just like that. Because you're so smart, right?
Okay, so that covers the part that we wanted to cover. And I'm going to now play it again and unmute my mic, and hopefully my voice will carry over the video, and those of you on audio will be able to understand more clearly what the extraterrestrial is saying. So here we go.
Can you speak? Orchard Wild, sir. Are you scared of me? Because you should be. Okay, so you say you're from the future and an evolutionary descendant of humans. You also say you're a different species. So, which one is it? Are you a descendant of humans or not?
We are evolutionary descendants of sapiens, but we can no longer breed with your kind. Therefore, we are a new species.
Then how do you know English? Answer me. If you don't answer, I'll administer another round of scopolamine until your system collapses. Do you understand? Now, how do you speak English?
Learning your language is essential to understand your species.
So you just picked up English, just like that. Because you're so smart, right?
Relatively, yes. Okay, we're going to end it there. Yeah, whew, I hate the way they treat the poor extraterrestrial. It's disgusting. I'm not proud of my of the human race when I see stuff like that. So you can see that we just heard straight from the horse's mouth that they are us from the future. So that might be surprising to a lot of you, but it seems to be the way that it is, according to the extraterrestrials. Now, as I mentioned, there's other information in there about us destroying ourselves with nuclear war. So, for those of you who are getting ready to vote in the United States, I would never tell you who to vote for, but what I will do is ask you to please seriously consider which political party is most likely to stop nuclear war rather than justify it. I just wanted to throw that out there because, like I said, according to the extraterrestrials, we're very, very close to destroying the Earth, all living things on it. And that will be, I don't know, a very, very long time for anybody to come back from, and we would never be the same. And doesn't that suddenly put into perspective our petty squabbles and our perceived differences? I myself am not afraid of dying because I've examined my life and lived it to the best of my ability. But that doesn't mean that I'm in a hurry to check out either. This is such a beautiful planet. And as soon as I shut off the screens and I go outside and I put my feet in the grass, or I eat a delicious meal, or I enjoy the comfort of my furry babies, all is right with the world, and it's a wonderful, wonderful life if we just give it a half a chance. And so I guess that's about it. I'm not getting any comments, so that's okay. Sometimes happens. Again, I hope you come back next week and participate in the program and check out my interview with Preston Dennett. He's such a good friend. I just finished reading one of his science fiction anthologies. So Preston not only writes nonfiction, he's a MUFON investigator, but he also writes his own science fiction. And the book, I should have brought it to show you, but the book I believe is called Wild Speculation, and it's just brilliant. It's got 10 science fiction stories that he's written himself. Each one is completely different. The man has such a brilliant, brilliant mind, and he's so creative. And so, yes, I hope you come back next week. And so I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me in the audio or video platforms. This video is streaming live onto Rumble, YouTube, and also Facebook today. And I hope y'all come back and join me next week. So for now, I'll just say goodbye to everybody and wish you a wonderful week. Thanks for joining me on Aliens and Angels. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube, Rumble, and X channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All of the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.